Hello, this is from Caracas. I'm Ray Gomez. An old saying reads, older people tell the history young people make. Now, how do the Venezuelan youth contribute to the political, economic, and social life in this South American country? On this, I will talk with Paul Mertz. Join us for the next few minutes. Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Well, in the 80s and 90s, the influence of Venezuelan youth in politics was mostly vague. So, however, today we see a growing role of the young people in political issues. I'm asking you, why is this possible? Thanks to what or to whom?
Yes, back before in the 90s, you have a lack of opportunities, a lack of hope for the youth. They don't have work opportunities, they don't have studies opportunities, and because of that, they have a little participation in the politics. When President Chavez come into the political space in Venezuela, he renews that hope in the people. In 1999, these people vote en masse for the first time in the Venezuelan history. And because of that, the people with new hopes start to be new programs to make these hopes possible.
Speaking on Comandante Chavez, he was a revolutionary since he was very young, almost from his childhood. Can we say that Chavez has always been a young leader?
Yes, he always make personality who feels young alongside the people who listen to him, people who look at him, and there is an example for the youth. There is an example to the youth they start to follow. And because of that, he is an eternal young.
How do the young Venezuelans remember Comandante Hugo Chavez?
They remember as a strong leader, as a man of love, a man of peace. Despite he's a military, but he always want to defend the poor, the people, the weak people, against the great powers such as the United States or the political traditional class in Venezuela. And because of that, they always had to remember Chavez is a figure that remember our strength, our history, and renews the hope of the Venezuelan youth.
Now, for any social group to perform politically in an adequate manner, it must be organized. In the case of Venezuela, for instance, there is the JPSUV, an acronym for Youth of the PSUV, the ruling party. What do you think about this political organization?
Yes, the JPSUV, it's the materialization of the force to be focused on the youth by the political parties in Venezuela, by the principal political party in Venezuela. The youth forms a great portion of this party, and because of that, the youth of the PSUV forms a strong political position amongst the party and the government in general.
Was there any political organization like the JPSUV before here in Venezuela, or is this organization a pioneer organization?
In some point of view, they was a pioneer because then another youth organization, they don't cover the number, the growing numbers of members that have in the youth of PSUV. But there is another organizations, but from the political parties allied to the PSUV in the Great Patriotic Pole.
Yes, you're right. The young Venezuelans are mostly linked to the Bolivarian Revolution through the JPSUV or any other institution, even if they don't belong to a political organization. But not all of them are Chavistas. Why not?
Well, Venezuela historically has been linked because their Caribbean position at the United States sphere of influence. And because of that, the United States media, the economic power, shows always a great, strong example. By all the private media and international media focused on try to tell another history about Venezuela.
What history do they try to tell?
They try to say there is an communist dictatorship, and it's a lack of democracy in the people, and the people are suffering for repression, starving, and other things that they don't use. They are the same lies they repeat in the Cold War. And because of that, because of that influence and that media influence, most of the young of media of the class, high class, media high class, maybe, they start to be an example and to be like the United States point of view.
Okay. Are these young people organized politically as well? If so, how have they been organized, and who are they led by?
They have plenty of organizations because they belong of many political parties in the right wing.
Yes.
There is plenty of political parties, but a lack of militants in some of them. But instead of it, they have participation in NGOs and in other forms that illegally forms of agrupations, such as resistance movements and something like that. That there is more matter to say we are against the government, but this a violent way to show against the government.
But do they have a leader who leads them?
No, they don't have a leader. They only are unified by the hate against the poor, the hate against the socialism, the hate against the figure of Chavez, a hate who was created by the media, by the economic powers.
And the social networks.
Yes, the social networks with the anonymates generated by that, it's very strong in the media campaign against the Bolivarian Revolution.
Okay. But the Venezuelan government policies benefit belief in the Bolivarian Revolution based on what?
Yes, they are based mostly in the media, in the media propaganda. Okay. Against the government, and because of that,
so
because
you
of
mean they are based on lies?
Yes, based on lies and half truths.
Half truths. How so?
Yes, like if there is a situation, they exaggerate the situation. Okay. They change the view of the situation, and because of that, the people start to believe the lie as a truth.
Okay. Many of these young people were recruited by the leaders of the Venezuelan opposition to participate actively in the so-called guarimbas, or violent actions that took place in 2014 and 2017. Why were they the visible faces of the so-called resistance, as you said?
Yes, there's no visible faces because these young are used as a face to the political class of the right wing that is plenty lack of sympathy by the people. And because of that, they start to use the youth to lead the manifestations, to lead the riots against the government.
But why the young people?
Why? Because in media, when you see the young, you see, wow, there is all the youth claims. And there is a media impact for being the young, the leaders. But they're not actually the leaders. Because if you see the opposition National Assembly, you don't see the youth. You see the old men. Old men, the same men who leads before Chavez, is leading now the same old parties. Because of that, this is why I affirm that the youth are being used for the right-wing parties.
President Nicolas Maduro did not sit idly by. Then he designed a social program to rescue these young people from violence, from vagrancy, from crime. I am referring to the Chamba Juvenil plan. Chamba means job in Venezuelan Spanish. What do you think of this initiative of the Venezuelan government?
Yes, one of the youth claims are for the needs for a first job. The chamba means the little job or a job for the youth. And because of that, they create.
What do you mean? What do you mean by first job? So the first time you start to work.
Yes,
here
to
in
be
Venezuela.
in the active political, population, economically
Yes.
active population. And because of that necessity, the president focused this necessity and this plan and this program with a network of another social programs of education and training since the incest. In that, there is 1,000 of people already registered in the, not only in the plan, but already in training programs like the incest.
Okay. And how many are they?
There are 850,000 in the incest, and more than 590,000 registered in the Chamba Juvenil.
Including the young people who were recruited by the opposition during the guerrillas.
Yes, because they know that political view to take that. So no, this is open for everybody. This is open for all the youth, and because of that, the youth recruited by the opposition are lacking support. Because the opposition doesn't offer works for them. The opposition doesn't offer a view, a country view to them. There is only angry. There is only angry against the government, and the government offers them a real opportunity.
And many of those young people were paid by the opposition.
Yes, and it's because of that that we seen. And in the Bolivarian government, we've seen the necessity of the young people to be in jobs. If the young people are paid, it's because the young people need, and they have time, it's because they need a job, and we offer the jobs, and because of that, they stop to support the riots.
After having overcome the so-called guerrillas, President Maduro called on the National Constituent Assembly to create a new chapter dedicated to the youth. Why?
If you see, historically, the population pyramid of Venezuela, it's extreme growing of the youth. Not only in the Chavez era, for before, there is always a young country, Venezuela. And because of that, we need to accept that reality, and we need to focus on the reality, and we need to act in the support of that reality.
By the way, President Maduro himself stated 72% of the members of the National Constituent Assembly are young people under 35 years of age. What did this data show us?
They show us that there is not only political participation in the political agrupations like the GPSUV, but instead the youth are political decision-making process. They are part of the political decision-making process of the Bolivarian Revolution, and because of that, they are more. They feel more attracted by the Bolivarian Revolution because you see the opposition National Assembly you don't see young people in the opposition National Assembly, but you see young people in the Bolivarian's National Constituent Assembly.
So there is a contrast between the traditional National Assembly and this new Constituent Assembly.
Yes, because if you see, they use the young, but they don't have sharing power with the young.
That's right.
In the Bolivarian Revolution, the youth are represented. The youth are part of the process of making decisions.
So you mean there is a contrast between the people who participate in the National Assembly, the traditional National Assembly, and the ones who belong to the National Constituent Assembly?
Yes, because in the National Assembly, you can see the old people, the same people back before Chavez era start, the same art in the same chairs, in the same political representation chairs, and you don't see the youth. You only see the youth being used for them to see the face of their protest, but you don't see the empowerment of the youth in the political opposition. In contrast, there in the Constituency National Assembly of Venezuela, there is 72% of young people, below 35 years. And because of that, you see the people are more included, not only to be a number, not only to be part of their party. No, it's the political decision-making process already. The young are part of that. And because of that, the young are more attracted by the Bolivarian Revolution.
Now, the Cuban national hero Jose Marti said, being cultured is the only way to be free. Do you feel free here in Venezuela?
Oh, of course. You see, there is already free, there is a lot of freedom because in the political opposition openly have violent statements, violent point of view against us, and they're not under repression because of that. They have already a plan to civil war against the Chavista people, and you don't see them being repressed by their ideas. They only been represented. They actually have violent struggles against the Organization for Security. But if you see the people of the right wing always have a lack of freedom, lack of democracy, but they always make this statement openly, free. Nobody chases them to be by their thoughts. They are open to and we, the people who support the Bolivarian Revolution, are free to make our statements too. We are free and responsible for make our points of view to support this Bolivarian Revolution, and we in fact are already organized.
For instance, as a young Venezuelan, what do you usually do here? Where you live, for instance?
Yes, I live in the Miranda State, and the Huayquipuro municipality on Cecilia Costa Parish. In them, since 2012, the youth of that parish are formed the Huayquipuro Sons.
What does Huayquipuro mean?
Huayquipuro was a leader of the colonial times, a leader of the resistance of the indigenous people. He leads the resistance of colonization of the valley of Caracas. He burned the Spanish towns twice. He made the Spanish to found Caracas several times because they always being war against them. And because of that, we want to be with that spirit of struggle, with that spirit of resistance, of cultural resistance against the new colonization by the West.
And what do you do?
We form a collective by the Sons of Huaycapuro that we work about art and political formation, and we train we train our youth in the rural areas to be peasants, to be formed in education, to be politically formed, and to perform arts, and all of them in the space of our parish. And because of that, our parish are more representative in or the youth in support of the Bolivarian Revolution.
So they don't participate in the guarimbas?
There is a few, but the majority of the youth are already in the Sons of Huaycapuro, are already being part of us or participate with us in our cultural activities. Because of that, there is a lot of political relation with Chavez, and we admire Chavez and always learn about the Bolivarian Revolution, all historical roots like Huaycapuro, like Bolivar. All of them are always being used by us, but to be part of them.
Okay. We are in a country traditional dependent on oil rent. How has this influenced the cultural awareness and social behavior of young Venezuelans?
Okay, the historical dependence of oil is not only the oil. The historical dependence of rent, you can see them since the colonial times. You see the Spanish dominion in Venezuela are based on the rent. Are based on I have a land, or I have people working for me, and I live with that. I rent the production media, and because of that, I live without work. And this is the formation of the political and economic class who forms part now of the right wing. And the people realize that. And because of that, it's too difficult to break the rentist thought in the structure of Venezuelan society. Yes, because of that, we try, in the Sons of Huaycapuro, we try to learn about produce by ourselves. I produce corn in my field. It's a really little one, but I produce corn and another vegetables to self-consumption. But that's the way, the production. That's the way to break that, but you need to realize the historical roots of this. That this not only the oil, that is an historical basis. If you read the Mariátegui 7 Essays of Peruvian Reality, you see this reality are already in other countries of Latin America. And because of that, we need to realize this to do the first step to break that.
Speaking of production, what challenges will the youth Venezuelans face in 2018? Are they ready to win and make history? Are you ready to win and make history?
Wow. Okay, if you see, we need to improve our historical roots, our historical formation, to be more attached by the Bolivar route, by the Chavez route, by all of the. We need to study a lot. We need to realize what is the history of our country. If you see in my organization, you see the young people reading about what's the history of this parish before the Spanish times. And because of that, we need to be part of them. We need to be the spirit of them in this, on a cultural level. I see that's the way to improve our situation for all the youth in Venezuela.
There's going to be an electoral exercise at the end of the year, a very important electoral exercise at the end of the year. So how do the young Venezuelans are going to make part of it?
We need to realize all of this reality. We need to realize all of our roots. We need to be part of our history, to act in defense of that history, in defense of this project. We can't see any project of any kind in the right wing because they have fear to show their real political plans for Venezuela. And we need to make that, to make this, to show this to everyone. To show we already, in the Bolivarian Revolution, it's the only political real plan for Venezuela. And because of that, we need to support the election of the President Nicolas Maduro.
Thank you very much for this interview. Paul Mertz, and thank you for joining us. See you.